and welcome to Thumb Electric's 85th annual meeting. It's great to be here in person today and see everyone. Wow, 85 years. If we think back 85 years, they were just hanging electric lines. They were putting poles in and hanging electrical lines. Fast forward to today, and down those same lines, on those same spots, and those same poles, we're hanging another line. Only this time it's fiber. And we're trying to connect our rural area with the rest of the world, the rest of the country, our friends in the city that have had fiber and had high-speed internet. So our goal is to get every member connected, and we are working towards that. We are starting to turn areas on, and we'll go over that in a few minutes. Once we have this, I think the pandemic taught us that we can be connected and do things like doctor visits and online classes, of course shopping, and even remote jobs, which some of us here already do. So as we go forward, we look to having that and expanding that and bringing that service to our area. This year we also had a change in leadership at Thumb Electric. After a long and prosperous career, Dallas Braun retired at the end of the year. Brad Essenmacher, who was in charge of the fiber rollout, was selected to take over as general manager for Thumb Electric. We're very excited to have Brad on and look forward to the future with him. If we could have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then stay standing, and we're going to do an invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you could stay. You can stay standing. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the little things in life that we tend to take for granted. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here in person. We ask that you enlighten our minds as we share information and learn from each other. We ask that you bless the meal we will enjoy at the conclusion of this meal, at the conclusion of this meeting. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Get a little bit. Enjoy the smell of those meat.
Over the past 6 months, I've had the opportunity to work very closely with this board. We've had numerous meetings, special meetings, virtual meetings. A lot of these meetings lasted longer than what they normally do. We had people call from and join meetings from trains. One was in the hospital. Through all these meetings, every member made, every director made every meeting. I was very impressed with that. And one of the things that commonly came up was, what is best for the members? What is best for you? That came up over and over again, and I was really glad to see that. This board truly understands the cooperative principle, and here are those directors. Want to stand up or wave when I call your name? Huron County District 1 is Randy Dice. District 2 is Craig Ozentowski. District 3 is Erica Peruski. In Sanilac County, we have District 1, Kim Nunn. District 2, Mike Rowlett. District 3 is Dwayne Krasinski. In Tuscola County, District 1, Louis Wenzloff. District 2 is myself, John Finley. District 3 is Matt Summer. And TEC's attorney, Kyle O'Mara. Lastly, our newly minted general manager, Brad Essenmacher. At this time, I would like to recognize and acknowledge longtime general manager Dallas Braun that retired last December. Dallas worked for TEC for over 32 years. He served as general manager since 2009. Dallas was instrumental in initiating the fiber project. He spent countless hours not only running the electrical side on TEC, but overseeing the layout and planning of the fiber project. If you see Dallas, congratulate him on his retirement and thank him for his service to the co-op. Thanks, Dallas.
Does he have a sign that says I am
I'm not sure. I would also like to recognize the efforts of each and every one of TEC's other employees. While all the employees' roles may not be the same at the co-op, everyone does their part and contributes in the overall success of the co-op. Thank you to all TEC employees for your dedication and commitment to the co-op and making safety a priority. I am proud to share that TEC's lost time incident occurred in October of 2018. Great job, everyone. Great job, everyone, and let's keep this streak going. All current TEC and Air Advantage employees are the foundation keeping the future of the co-op and the internet business moving in a positive direction. Please join me again in a round of applause for all the current employees of this organization. Thank you. And now I would like to call the 2023 85th Annual Meeting to order. Official notice of this meeting was published on page 5 of the May-June 2023 edition of Country Lines magazine. We will dispense the reading of last year's minutes as they were printed on page 16 of the May-June 2023 edition of Country Lines magazine, which is mailed to every member. Unless there are any questions, a motion for approval is in order. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have support? We have motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report. Also published on page 17 in the May-June edition of Country Lines were the year-end financial comparisons for 21 and 22. I would like to share some finalized 22 financials in my President's report, which I will present now. This year's financials might look a little bit different. The numbers presented today will include both the electrical and the fiber side of the business combined. TEC's total plant with both the electric and fiber included increased just over $20 million from 21 to 22. These expenditures and capital improvements were in large part to our TEC fiber build-up, but also include rebuilding identified circuits of aging poles and wires, upgrading substation equipment, building new electric services, upgrading existing electric services, purchase of trucks and vehicles, office equipment, and other investments that improve the efficiency and enhance our overall system's reliability. TEC and TEC Fiber's combined 2022 operating statement showed revenues of $26.87 million and expenses of $25.58 million. These expenses are the costs to maintain and operate the electric and fiber system. The resulting operating margin for 2022 was just under $1.3 million. Adding in some non-operating interest, non-operating margin, and other capital credits received by the co-op, the total 2022 patronage allocated back to TEC members was $1,448,134. Members were allocated just over 5.4 cents for every dollar paid in 2022. This is the great thing about being a member of the co-op. These margins are returned back to you, the members. The co-op uses some members' patronage over time to make capital improvements. At last month's board meeting, the board of directors took action and retired a portion of the 2022 allocation to cover deceased and bad debt retirements. General retirements were not issued this year to save the co-op from having to borrow additional funds for the fiber construction. Since patronage payments have begun, TEC has paid back $13.7 million to its members. In 2022, TEC paid $1,065,071 in property taxes to school and other government agencies in Huron, Tuscola, and Sanilac County. On the fiber side, things are going very well on the fiber infrastructure build-up. Brad emailed me earlier this week, and we hit our 1,000th member, or 1,000th active account for TEC Fiber. So give a round of applause to everybody. They started in Tuscola County, and members out of Kingston, Vassar, Millington, and parts of Columbia Substation have service available to them right now. If you're near the Decker, Austin, Ubley, Kindy, and Siegel, you should see service at various points during 2023. Stay tuned. In summary, your electric cooperative remains financially stable and continues to meet all required loan covenants. Things were very busy in 2022, and we expect the same for the next couple of years as we make high-speed fiber available to our members and surrounding communities. At this time, I would like to turn things over to General Manager Brad Essenmacher to provide you with his report and elaborate on a few items I touched on and answer any questions you may have. Brad?
Thanks, John. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Brad Essenmacher. Welcome to the 2023 annual meeting. Just a little bit of background on myself. I started at Thumb Electric in 2010 in the Member Services department, and I managed that department for about 10 years or so. The one thing I had to go back and watch a previous meeting because I always worked in the back of the room and I never seen what happened up here. So it didn't seem like it was too awful bad. So hopefully it goes well. So in about 2020, when COVID hit, we all got sent home to work. Former General Manager Dallas Braun and myself basically tasked ourselves with seeing if the fiber broadband would be feasible to bring to the Thumb area. So we did a lot of homework. We must have had 100 financial models that we worked through, looking at different parameters of doing it this way or doing it that way, and finally come to the conclusion that we could do it, and we were going to participate in the RDOF auction, Rural Development Opportunity Fund, or something along those lines. And we were awarded $22.5 million to do just that. So I left the Member Services Department, got into the Broadband Department, and ran that for 2 or 3 years until Dallas retired here last fall, and that's where we are today. Just before I go too much further, we had a long time Thumb Electric employee passed away last August. Natural causes. It is what it is, it happens. But Rick Kukowski was a TEC employee for about 22 years, and he's very much missed by the co-op family that he has. You just pause for a moment and just remember Ray and his family. Thank you. I would like to have a few thank yous here before I get into some details. Just let you know that anytime you have a question on anything, and I'll certainly take questions on a more question-based forum when we're done. But a couple thank yous I'd like to make. First, I'd like to thank General Manager Dallas Braun for his 32 years of service at the cooperative. One thing I can tell you about Dallas is in every budget he put together, every decision he made, and anything that he did, it took the collective interests of the co-op in mind. Now, individually, certain people might not have liked those decisions, but it made sense for the collective group. And that's probably the one takeaway that I've learned from him over the years, and I certainly plan on continuing with that going forward. So thank you, Dallas, for that. Second, I'd like to thank each employee at the cooperative, and each board of director and contractor that we have, working to make the lives of the Thumb area people better. whether they're working on rebuilding line or working with our fiber broadband division, you're doing it for the collective group here to make things better. 86 years ago, a group of rural people such as yourself seen the need. There was no electricity out in the thumb and in the outskirts beyond the towns and villages, and they wanted to make life better for themselves, for their future, for their children's future, and that's exactly what they did. So fast forward today, I think that idea is still alive with the rural broadband and the fiber to the home network that we're currently building. In about 3 years, we've more than doubled in size. We were 28, 30 employees about 3-4 years ago. Today we're over 60. So we're bringing jobs to the area. Our hope is that it brings more jobs and that to the area, created through growth in that fiber to network that we're building out. We hope that businesses will want to settle on our lines, and people can work from home. They don't have to live in the city anymore. With that connectivity, it makes all those things possible. And I kind of go to a thought in my head, 86 years ago, or late 30s, early 40s. Farmer just got the electricity out. He maybe didn't have to work so hard. That time motors did the work for him. But still, he has breakfast in the morning, gives his wife a kiss out the door, and says, "Well, dear, I'm gonna go to work. That tractor's not gonna drive itself." Okay. Fast forward to today, and farmers are using this technology. Those tractors are kind of driving themselves. So they need it. They need it on their farms. The farms are big operations, and they need that technology to survive and to thrive and to move their businesses forward. So I think that's positive.
And they were getting calls
And then
from
lastly, I'd like to thank
little
all
guys
you members
in the truck,
for your
little
patience
kids in the
on
truck
this
driving still
broadband build.
they get over
Thousands
thousands of
somebody
calls
has
in
somebody's
California.
got to be first and somebody has to be last.
Their truck.
So I appreciate your patience.
funny.
A lot of you are seeing wires going by your home right now, or fiber
getting
line going
stopped.
by your home right now. Just understand that's the initial step. There's still a lot of work that goes on in the background with electronics and provisioning, splicing and testing before we can activate the circuit. But we're getting better at it. We're getting faster at it. It took us a long time to go from 1 customer to 500, or I call them subscribers, I guess. And then we hit 1,000, and we're about 400 people in the queue waiting for service. So we should get to 1,500 even faster. So thank you for your patience, and again, whenever if you have any questions, holler. So to give what happened in 2022 and what's going on in 2023. President Finley gave you an overview of some of the financials, but what went into that? Well, there's 3 things that we deal in at the cooperative to bring your service: safety, reliability, and affordability. And I use those in that order for a reason. Safety is number 1. The safety of the cooperative employees and the general public is first, and it always will be. So sometimes when you see an outage and it's not quite taking as long, or taking a little longer than you think it should, there are certain protocols that have to happen in order to keep people safe, keep the general public safe, right? We might have to go and cut down a line and make it safe just so cars can pass, or if it's over somebody's driveway. And that happens before we start restoring in a lot of cases. So thanks for your patience on that as well. But safety is number 1. Has anybody here seen a hotline demo that we do? Very, very much worth it if you ever get the opportunity. But we do several hotline demos a year for school organizations, for EMS and fire personnel, for government agencies, you name it. We put on a lot of that in the name of safety. right? I mean, you have to learn sometime. Don't touch a down wire. And it starts at the school level, and hopefully throughout your lives, that message stays true. Reliability. So reliability and affordability, what order do you put them? I think I picked reliability because if it's not there for you, you're going to be able to afford it because you don't have it. But they're very close, 1 and 2, right? So talking about reliability, electric lines and poles need to be maintained. The right-of-ways need to be clear of vegetation. So tree trimming is a big part of that reliability. So if you ever have a knock on your door, I'm asking you to be able to remove, especially. But we'll just let you know that, hey, we could be trimming the circuit out, and if you can live without a tree, it saves you money in the long run to have that tree gone instead of us trimming it every 6 to 8 years. So thank you for that if you've ever given that, and consider it in the future if you ever do get that ask. But another part of that reliability is line inspection. We need to keep an eye on the lines, make sure they're clear, and that goes right from the substation right to your meter. There's issues can be all the way to there. We implemented AMI technology with metering in just 2019, 2020. And in that time alone, one of the things that this AMI meter does is it detects a hot socket. And we've detected over 300 of those, which were potential fire hazards. And so if you do get a notification, hey, your meter base is having some problems, we don't maintain the meter bases because it's part of the NEC code. So the county has to come and inspect and that sort of thing. We don't have the proper licensure to do that work. So you may have to at some point replace one. That could be the reason why. If you've ever seen one that's gotten hot and started somebody's siding on fire or something, it'd be something you don't forget. So, and then the other part of that is when are you most likely to be using a lot of electricity and really heating up that meter base? Christmas, Easter, and those times when you've got food you're cooking in the oven and that, and you don't want that inconvenience down the road. So just wanted to make you aware of that. But also on the reliability portion of it is generation. And if everybody remembers that Christmas Eve windstorm and cold spell we had last year, reliability in Michigan was really at a critical point. There are other states that had to do rolling blackouts because the capacity of generation just wasn't sufficient in the MISO or the Midwest operation or independent system operator. There you go. There's just not a lot. There's not enough power going on right now. They're shutting down some natural gas and coal and that sort of thing, and not replacing it with necessarily base load generation at this point in time. I think we all love renewables, solar, wind, and that they have their place. But when push comes to shove and it's cold or it's hot, it can become a problem if the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing. So keep tuned to that. That's a big reliability factor. And I'll discuss it here a little bit later as we get into some other things. So last year we rebuilt about 10 miles of line. We had projects out of Decker, Kindy, Siegel, and Kingston substations. So that's going to help with reliability. In 2023, we have a 7-mile project slated for the Lake Shore to connect. Essentially what it'll do is it'll connect 3-phase from our Delaware sub to our Octagon sub, which will give us the ability that we've never had to connect the Delaware sub to the rest of the system. We have 2 tie points that come in from DTE at the Delaware sub, but we do not have our own natural feed in from another substation. So this will give us the ability to tie that at the distribution level. So that project you'll see if you're on the Lake Shore. We completed up a 3-mile or so Columbia rebuild over in the Fish Point area, anybody that's familiar with that. And we did a lot of the tree trimming and that as well throughout the year. We replaced some relay equipment in the urban and Kingston substations, which again helped with reliability. To switch over, if we lose this one substation, we have some equipment that'll automatically switch over. It takes about a minute or two to do that. If anybody's ever had that situation where my lights are out, and then 2 or 3 minutes later they come back on. So that's equipment in the background that's just switching it over and turning that substation back on. And then in 2023 we will see some pole testing again, which again is just part of the maintenance process to ensure reliability. If poles need to be replaced because they're rotted on the bottom or that, we like to keep up on that. And then, the affordability part comes in. Again, which one's more important, reliability or affordability? I only chose reliability just to simply, it's not there, you're going to certainly be able to afford it. So, but I think the affordability comes from several things, and that's working with the TEC board on setting rates, formulating and approving budgets, following the budgets, and making adjustments when needed. So that's all part of it. The board and myself are certainly watching that each meeting and for me daily on what factors may be coming in. Kilowatt hour sales are down, that sort of thing. You have to make some budget adjustments. And it's also some of the affordability comes from the legislative stuff. Does everybody know what acre is? It's sometimes you get a letter in the mail that asks you if you'd like to participate with acre for a small donation, and that's to help us inform legislators of issues that may come up that might affect your affordability. Whether that's at the state level in Lansing or the federal level in Washington D.C. So there's a lot of decisions that happen there that do affect affordability and reliability, to be honest. On the broadband internet, TEC Fiber and Air Advantage, I think everybody's fairly aware. If you're not, we had purchased Air Advantage around a year and a half ago. It's been a great purchase. Air Advantage comes with a lot of knowledge in the internet space. Knowledge that we probably wouldn't be at this point with 1,000 subscribers hooked up without that knowledge. And so TEC Fiber, we're close to about 600 miles of fiber in place. Mostly aerial right now. We do have 10, 12 miles of underground in. The underground build goes much slower. It's for obvious reasons. It's just anytime you're working underground, it's just a lot more there. To go around. Farm tile, other utility in the ground, all of that stuff. It takes a little bit of doing. So as John mentioned, we have 5 substations lit up or in different states that are ready to go. Kingston, Vassar, Millington, Columbia Circuit 2 is open, and 3 and 4 are in splicing stage right now and testing. As soon as it's spliced and tested, it's ready for activation. So I would anticipate the Columbia 1 and 3 coming on in the next few weeks. So watch that. And then Decker is right behind it. The Decker substation, or OLT at the substation is lit up, I believe. It's just got to go through the splicing and the testing operations. And then the Austin substation is right behind it. Cables being run, and the Ubley sub, the Kindy sub, and the Siegel sub. And as John mentioned, TEC Fiber just yesterday passed 1,000 subscribers. There's another 420 plus in the queue for service, which means they're signed up. They're just waiting in some stage of a drop NID splice, that sort of thing. And I think out of those 420, about 115 are scheduled for install. So that everything's been complete except for us coming out and actually turning it on for them. So, but at that point, you're very, very, very close. With the internet is another technology called Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP, if you've ever heard of that. And it basically allows us to instead of you using the landline copper for your phone service in, you use the internet fibers to do the same exact thing essentially. It really amazed me how many people, especially in the Southern Tuscola area, that really had poor cell phone service and really wanted this phone service to come in. It's a $45, I believe, flat fee. There's no, in the continental United States or Mexico and then in Canada, there's no minutes, there's no charge. That $45 is tax, title, and the whole 9 yards. So it's affordable. And it really surprised me at how many people actually wanted that. We didn't really think it would be a thing with cell phones these days, but apparently a lot of people just have no cell service at their location. So if that interests you, it is available. In Air Advantage, they work outside of our TEC footprint when they're not working on our system. And they're going to other counties that we are not in, Saginaw County, Bay County, Lapeer County, some of the other areas. And we have active projects going on in Akron, in Fairgrove, and in Unionville, Deeford, and some of it with grant money, CMIC, or Connecting Michigan Communities, grant funding that we have. They have won some awards in prior to us taking over for them. They're also, we're kind of planning on them helping us out. Part of our RDOF area covers some smaller villages, Ruth in Huron County, and Forestville in Sanilac County. So I think we're going to enlist their help to help us build out those communities sooner rather than later. And so that's part of their, they'll be helping us with this year. And so Air Advantage has 1,065 of their own fiber subscribers and just under 4,000 wireless customers as well, although the wireless technology is shrinking. As people get fiber to the home, it's just a better technology, and they prefer it. So it's faster, it's more reliable, a lot less connectivity issues with it. They have about 122 voice over internet for VoIP customers as well. So jumping into a little bit of the political arena, Lansing is a little bit different this year. Democrats took over control of all three legislative branches for the first time in about 40 years or so. So we've got a little bit different group of people that we work with that just simply being in charge, and so we need to let them know what our affordability and reliability issues are. So we are working with them, but they're new, especially at the representative branch. That turns over quite frequently, and each election you're kind of starting over and letting everybody know what the issues are that we need to get across to them so that we keep it affordable and reliable. Some of the things that they're talking about, sort of probably bring that into a bit of a question. Senate Bill 271 is going, right now we're required to get 15% of our energy from renewables. So the task, the bill, what it looks at is 60% by 2030 and 100% by 2035. Now, I don't know that anybody thinks that's doable. Again, they're young and hopefully learning. It's a great goal, I suppose, but is it realistic? We need to let them know that wherever the energy comes from, whether it be renewable or some other form, it just needs to be there. It needs to be reliable and affordable. So we are, at a state level, working with that. One of the senators sitting from the Lansing area, he's talking a little bit different, which is mostly a carbon-free by 2035, which brings nuclear energy into the mix, which is carbon-free. The downside of that is, and I think we're for nuclear as part of the mix, but permitting. I don't know if you could get a permit issued by 2035 to site a nuclear facility to let alone get it built. But stay tuned on that. We're watching it for you, and to be sure, we'll give them, the legislators our beliefs in that. Senate Bill 273 is an update on energy waste reduction. Do people recognize the EO or EWR that we were required to be part of for several years? And we still have EO or EWR programs. We're just doing it as a non-required, non-reportable function. But they're looking to bring everybody back into that, munis and co-ops, both, which we're not required to right now by previous energy law. And then possibly some net metering changes could be on the horizon when it comes to renewables at your facility. But again, we're monitoring that. Washington has been a little bit quieter on the energy front, but they're fully aware of reliability issues. Tim Matheson, our CEO at the NRECA, or National Rural Electric Cooperatives Administration, has been really pushing on all the legislators and that in Washington and making it known that reliability is a huge deal. I don't think we want rolling blackouts to be our future. When we want to go turn the lights on, we want to be able to turn the lights on. So. And then ACRE, which I think I asked a little bit ago if people were familiar with that term. Well, if you were, get used to it going away, because it's going away. There'll still be a political action committee portion of it, but it's going to be called America's Electric Cooperatives PAC. And then subsequently in Michigan, it will become the Michigan Electric Cooperatives PAC. So a little bit of a name change. If you do participate, just look for that change coming up, probably in a letter or whatever type of emails or however you get your notification on that. Youth tour, which the state of Michigan participates in, sending a student, a high school student, typically to Washington D.C. to do the tours of the legislators and other sites, get some familiarity with how Washington works and all that. We are sending one student from Harbor Beach Community School this year, Isaiah Caban. So he'll be joining other students coming up here in about a week or so there. And then along with the youth tour, we offer $1,500 scholarships to each the students available in each of the three counties. So this year, in Huron County, Logan Ballmering from Ubley High School, he's pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering and electrical engineering at Michigan State University. So he went from Huron County. Sanilac County, Mark Heilig, also from Ubley High School. He will be attending a lineman school at Alpena Community College. And then in Tuscola County, Isabella Langney, Hero High School. And she will be pursuing a degree in robotics engineering at Michigan Tech. So congratulations to them. And that's my report, so I'll open it up to any questions. Yes?
Regarding your fiber optic, the customer base that you had done, what percentage of the customers are actually signing up for it?
Good question. Anywhere from 25 to 35% right now, depending on how long it's been open. Typically, the longer ones that have been open will continue to move forward, and people are still signing up in those original ones. Our financial goal is 40%, so we're getting very close to that, especially the ones that have been on for a while. Some of the newer ones, it takes some time to get built up. Talking to other co-ops that are in the fiber business throughout the state, I think there's 5 of us. They said it's very typical, and that they are going well beyond 40, 50, even 60% in a lot of the areas. So, yes.
Last year when Dallas came up on stage, the first thing he said was that rolling blackouts were possible last summer, but in the same talk, he also said that they were much more likely in 2023 because the climate extremists, not just in Michigan, but in the surrounding states, are getting more successful in shutting down the coal-fired plants. So, do you have a feeling for how, he was even recommending maybe whole house generators. Do you have any feeling for how likely it is we're going to have rolling blackouts this summer if they're hot summer?
In the MISO footprint, there is a, let's call it a yellow type alert. And we are in the MISO footprint, us and Minnesota and Indiana and Ohio and in that area. So at least at the MISO level, there is some concern there. So I'm going to take their lead on this to say it's possible. A lot of it will depend on those very, very hot days or the very, very cold days and what we end up getting. So far, 2023, and we're almost half a year into it, has been fairly mild on the weather front.
So when you say we're in the yellow area, is that like a
Caution.
5% chance, 50% chance? Got any idea?
You know, good question. I hope it's only a 5 or 10%. I mean, it's obviously, I don't have a percentage for you. So I just going on what I hope. It's not red, although the board turned red for about 5 minutes one day when we had a very, very hot spell. Quickly went away, like I said. I hope that it doesn't come to that because of where we are here. That thumb loop that got built up here, it is very robust, and it provides us up here in the thumb a good supply of energy. So I don't think we would be in a big one of those rolling blackout areas. I think it's maybe where the infrastructure isn't quite as hefty as it is here, but you never know. You know, it's just an unanswerable question right now as far as I can't predict what will happen, and even how it would happen from our standpoint because of who we are. We purchase our power from CMS Energy. Would CMS come to us to ask us to roll a rolling blackout? Would they just pull the plug on us and do that? It's questions that I've thought about. I've got a meeting with them actually in a couple of weeks that I tend to ask those questions. What do they see happening and how?
So if we do have rolling blackouts, and it's not your fault, it's where you get your energy from.
Yep.
Does some electric have a plan, like would they shut us down for a couple hours or half a day or?
I would think that's how it would look. A couple hours and then move on to another circuit and then a couple hours. But we also have the ability to turn our generators on too. So can we help support the voltage and avoid the rolling blackouts? So, yep. Yes?
2018, you were talking about starting a solar farm within this area, but then when you moved to this tax advantage, where are you in that solar plan?
So we have a solar project going on in our Carroll facility. The contractor that we were getting our materials from got into a financial issue, so we're still waiting to get all the materials to make that happen. We have most of them. What we need is the mounting bracket to put everything together, put the solar, community solar project is what it is. So we have not seen it from him yet, and my thoughts have been to possibly just pull the plug on him and get someone else to make that piece that we need of it to finish it. But I have not had a chance to go that route yet. And I don't know what Dallas was working on with him, other than that's just what I know. So Dallas could have had some other type of a plan in place than what I do. I just don't know what that was. Yep. Anyone else? Well, thank you for your time. And if you see me later, you have a question or something pops up, just holler, and I'll be glad to answer it for you one-on-one. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we would like a motion to approve the president's report. We have a motion. Is there support? Support? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'd also like a motion to approve the general manager's report. Do we have a motion? We have a motion. Support? Support? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This time, I would like to turn things over to TEC's attorney, Kyle O'Mara, as he facilitates the in-person voting of directors and bylaw revisions. Kyle?
Good morning. Good morning. So, my name is Kyle O'Mara, and I have the honor of serving as the attorney for Octagon. My role here today, as President Finley indicated, will be to guide all of you through the cooperative's election process. As many of you probably remember, Thumb Electric started offering mail-in ballots back in 2019, and in 2021, when an in-person annual meeting wasn't possible, the bylaws were amended to allow the option of online voting. These measures are intended to get as much participation and input from our members as possible, and I think they've been successful. This year we had 373 members vote either online or through the use of mail-in ballots. Now, of course, those of you here today who have not yet voted will have the opportunity to do so. If you didn't cast a ballot through the mail or online, you should have received a paper ballot when you got here this morning. If you didn't, be sure to get one. And if you have already voted before the meeting but received a paper ballot by mistake, please do not vote again. Just return a blank ballot. So there are 4 questions to be determined during this year's election. 3 director positions and 1 proposed amendment to the TEC bylaws. As I'm sure you all noticed, all 3 incumbent directors up for election this year are running unopposed. The current Thumb Electric bylaws require that the primary method for identifying candidates is through the use of a nominating committee. The committee is made up of Thumb Electric members appointed by the board who are tasked with seeking out and interviewing members who are interested and qualified to serve as directors. As you can probably guess, that's not always an easy task. This year, the committee did its due diligence and identified several qualified potential candidates. Unfortunately, of those interviewed, only 1 committed to appearing on the ballot, and that person later changed their mind and withdrew. This leads me to one of the issues appearing on the ballot today. The bylaw amendment, which has been proposed, would eliminate the use of a nominating committee and would allow any qualified and interested member to seek a director's seat by the filing of a nominating petition. The specific language of the proposed amendment was printed in the May-June edition of Country Lines for your review. And pursuant to the bylaws, the amendment has already been approved by the board with a unanimous vote. So on to the director election. The first director position on the ballot is for Huron County District 3. The incumbent for that district is Erica Peruski. Ms. Peruski is running unopposed. In a moment, I'm going to ask whether there are any nominations from the floor to challenge Ms. Peruski. Keep in mind that anyone nominated to run would need to be a resident of that district. If you aren't sure about your district, I believe there are some maps posted relative to that for your review. So at this time, I'm asking whether there are any nominations from the floor to challenge Erica Peruski for that position. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close nominations and proceed with Ms. Peruski as the only candidate for the Huron County District 3 seat. Do I have a motion to that effect? Have a motion? Support? Support? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The next district on the ballot is San Juan County District 3. The incumbent is Wayne Krasinski, who is running unopposed. Again, at this time, I'm asking whether there are any nominations from the floor to challenge Mr. Krasinski. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close nominations and proceed with Mr. Krasinski appearing unopposed on the ballot. Have a motion? Motion. Any support? Support. Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The final director position appearing on this year's ballot is Osceola County District 3. The incumbent is Matt Summer. Mr. Summer is not opposed. Again, at this time, I'm asking whether there are any nominations from the floor. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close nominations and proceed with Mr. Summer appearing unopposed on the ballot. Have a motion to that effect? A motion? Any support? Support. Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So in a moment, you'll get the opportunity to hear from those three incumbent candidates. Even though there are no other nominees this year, the board decided that you all should still have the opportunity to hear from your directors. Each of the nominees will have a maximum of 5 minutes to address the meeting. At the end of the presentations, those of you who have not yet voted will be able to do so. Then the ballots will be collected by our volunteer tellers to be counted. So up first, our first presentation will be Ms. Peruski from Huron County District 3.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Peruski, and I'm representing Huron County District 3. I was born and raised in Bad Axe, and I graduated from Bad Axe High School in 2010. And in 2011, I received my cosmetology license from the Huron Area Technical Center. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for over 12 years, and I've owned my own salon, New Wave Hair Studio, in Bad Axe for almost 7 years. At my salon, I work with 9 other stylists, and I enjoy interacting with clients and coworkers daily. When I'm not at work, I'm with my daughter, Lenny, who is 3 and a half, and I enjoy spending time with family and friends. I've been a Thumb Electric member since March of 2021, and on the Thumb Electric board since October of last year. I've really enjoyed being on the board for the last several months and working with the other board members. I'm looking forward to being involved in the progress of TEC and learning more about co-op. Keeping up with the latest technologies and representing the needs of the members will always remain my top priorities. Thank you all for coming out today, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Erica. Now we will move on to Wayne Krasinski from San Juan County District 3. Mr. Krasinski.
Thanks, Kyle. Hi, I'm Wayne Krasinski. Thanks for coming out today. I was born and raised in the Deckerville area, graduated from Deckerville High. After Darren Wanda Bungard, we moved to Utica for 5 years, worked at the Fort Miller Company. Then somebody told me of a restaurant in Sandusky that good hamburger. Or a hamburger flipper. Well, then 50 years later, here I am. We raised our 3 sons in the Sandusky, and they are all business owners. We have a light big grandchildren. So I've been a member of Thumb Electric for about 29 years, and on the board of directors for 15 years. I'm very proud of working with the group, and we have, and under the guidance of our new CEO, Brad Hess. I would like to thank everyone and would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Tuscola County District 3 Director, Matt Summer.
I'm going to make Andy and the tech crew nervous over here holding the mic. Thank you. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to serve all the membership the last nearly 2 years here on the board of directors. We have a great group of directors here that really care about the cooperative and making sure that we deliver affordable power safely. So, my name is Matt Summer. I live in the Millington area. I grew up in Reese. I've been in the Thumb most of my life. Lived a few other places, but my biggest top 3 things that I want to focus on as a director is, of course, one being the delivery of safe, reliable, affordable power to all of us, as we have been doing for decades. So that needs to be job 1. And then number 2, to deliver the fiber optic internet to all of our members as quickly as possible. So I know everyone's real eager to see that rolled out, and the team is doing a fantastic job getting us to 1,000 subscribers already. So we just need to continue along that path, and they're getting better every day at it. Third, it's incumbent upon myself to continue educating myself on the proper operations of and governance of the cooperative. So to that effect, I've taken 5 different courses and was recently achieved the Credentialed Cooperative Director from the NRECA, the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and we'll continue down that path to eventually, over the next few years, get to my gold certification. So those courses teach us things like, almost everyone on the board has achieved that credential at this point, and some others are working towards it. Those courses teach us to effectively run board meetings, how to understand the finances of the organization, and make sure that we're doing everything in the best interest of the members, handling governance effectively. So with that, again, my name is Matt Summer, and I appreciate your vote, and we'll love serving another 3 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. That concludes the candidate presentations. Let's give all of them another round of applause. So for those of you who have not already done so, you may complete your ballot, cast your votes. And while you are doing that, I would ask the individuals who have volunteered to serve as election tellers to come on up to the stage or over here next to the stage. I will administer them an oath. They will be around shortly to collect your ballots. Thank you for your attention and for your participation. At this time, I will turn the meeting back over to President Finn. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take just a couple minute break while we get the tellers together and have them come through and get the votes. So if you guys want to hold on for just a couple minutes. So we'll go ahead and come back to the meeting. Is there any unfinished business to bring before the board? Okay, seeing none. Is there any new business to bring before the board? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and introduce our legislatures. The first one we have is U.S. Senator Gary Peters, Bay Regional Rep. Lacey McKinney. So we'll go ahead and you guys can come up here. You've got, if you could keep it to 5 minutes or less, and the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Lacey McKinney. I am the Regional Coordinator for Senator Gary Peters out of the Bay region. I am honored to be representing...
Put the mic closer.
Is this better? Yes. Okay. I'm honored to be representing the Senator at this meeting today, especially as expanding high-speed internet across Michigan is a priority of his. Senator Peters has long advocated for the expansion. He helped enact the bipartisan infrastructure law in 2021, which allocated Michigan with over $1 billion, money that works to provide high-speed internet across the state. Last month, Senator Peters joined the bipartisan working group that seeks to evaluate and strengthen reforms to the Universal Service Fund, which supports access to high-speed internet in rural and underserved areas. Again, I'm honored to be here representing the Senator. I'll be around if anybody has any questions or if our office can be of any assistance. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you, Lacey. Next, we have U.S. Representative Lisa McLean, Field Rep, Coalwood.
Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, as Mr. Finley mentioned, I'm Coalwood. I'm the field representative for Congresswoman Lisa McLean. She unfortunately couldn't attend this year, but I'm here to give a bit of a legislative update on her behalf. I'm just going to go over some recent legislation and other issues. Recently, the debt limit bill was signed into law. I wanted to go over some of the things included in there. Student loans, the payments had to restart after a 3.5-year moratorium. This was almost $5 billion added to the taxpayer tab every month. Now, 41 months later, it's over $176 billion. Those payments will now be restarted. There was rescinding of COVID funds. We rescinded $28 billion in unobligated COVID funds. To be clear though, those are unobligated. Those are ones that were sitting at the federal level that hadn't been spent yet. That doesn't have to do with the townships and counties that have already allocated those funds. The PAYGO Act was introduced in there. That requires any executive agency, like the FBI, spending, if they have a spending increase, means they have to cut somewhere else in their department the funds of the same or a greater amount. It also requires congressional review for any action with an economic impact of over $100 million or $1 billion over 10 years. It might sound like a lot of money, but that's only $2 million of an impact per state that any type of rule would have to have an effect of. The last big piece that we got in the debt limit bill is passing all 12 appropriation bills separately by the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year, I should say, or a 1% cut to the entire government across the board. Previously, continuing resolutions were used to kick the can down the road and fund the government without legislation, and this puts a stop to that. Lisa also recently co-sponsored the Protecting Farmers from the SEC Act. That prohibits the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, from requiring farmers to disclose greenhouse gas emissions. On Thursday, Lisa had a hearing over ESGs, which are environmental, social, and governance standards that are in talks to be mandated, and we very clearly heard the harms that mandated ESGs would have. particularly on farmers. This all kind of ties in together under climate issues. We have the Farm Bill coming up this year. Lisa recently held a listening session for it. We got a lot of good input from across the district. We're working to get it done this year, and I encourage anybody with any thoughts, comments, questions to reach out to our office. I'm more than happy to hear any input you have to give. Farmers in the district and farmers overall know what should be in the Farm Bill most. Some letters we recently sent, one to Secretary Granholm regarding energy conservation standards for distribution transformers. This was regarding disapproval of the proposed rule to switch transformer manufacturing materials from U.S.-based grain-oriented steel to foreign-based amorphous steel. We don't need to lose any more manufacturing to foreign entities. She also sent a letter to Secretary of State Blinken calling out and voicing strong opposition to the World Health Organization for electing North Korea to their executive board. North Korea has shown no positive progress for things like human rights, civil liberties, and censorship, and shouldn't have any influence over the health decisions of any others. She sent this letter along with 71 other members. I would also like to thank Bud Electric for giving Congresswoman and I a tour of their fiber facility in October. It was a great visit, and you guys really have phenomenal work being done. And, as a customer, I'm also very excited for the fiber optic line. Lastly, I just wanted to say, please reach out with any thoughts, any questions you have on any legislation. We have a district office in Lake Orion. We also have a remote office at the Marlette Township Hall at 6725 Airport Road. I'm there or another staffer on Mondays from 9 to 5, or if you give me a call, I'm more than happy to meet you up there. But if anybody wants to reach out, I encourage them to. Thank you. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Cole. Next we have Michigan Rep. Greg Alexander.
Thank you and good morning. I appreciate all you guys coming here. The annual meeting is a great event every year. All of you that know me or maybe don't know me, I'm a recovering dairy farmer by trade. I was the elected grain commissioner. I worked at Tri-County Equipment for 15 years and then the elected grain commissioner for 12 years. So I've been tuned into the scene in Lansing. As Mr. Essenmacher alluded, everything is all run on one side right now. So we're, some of the things that we're doing at this point has mostly been just the budget. And the budget is looking at a possible deficit, so that's not looking too good that way. And if you see me around here, and say, I was a grain commissioner in semi-farm, so I'm an infrastructure guy. So I'm excited about the fiber. There's no such thing, no such thing as a Republican road or Democrat grain. They're there for all of us to use. So if there's anything that we should really agree upon is that our infrastructure. And be working very hard on trying to get that the best possible that we can. I applaud Thumb Electric's efforts in maintenance and upkeep of their system. Our dairy farm used to be from the competitor, and my farm was from Thumb Electric, so I appreciate the excellent service that I've received over the years from Thumb Electric. And I'm excited about the fiber optic, and I've written letters of recommendation for additional funds to go towards that fiber optic. I've been involved with the Octagon barn for 20 plus years, so I'm a fairly familiar face around here. I try to be as easy to get a hold of as possible. I meet at every airport in the district. The last Monday of the month I'm in Marlette, and the last Friday of the month I'm in Bad Axe Airport and Sandusky Airport. So if you ever want to reach out and talk to me personally, I'm giving you every opportunity that you can. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve, and looking forward to hearing from you all. I'm always rooting for the success of Thumb Electric. Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly is Michigan Senator Dan Lowers, is he here? Any rep? No, okay. So, we're gonna have Rose Putnam with Octagon Barn come up and give a little update. We as a board would like to thank her for allowing us to use this facility. We think this is a great facility in the Thumb. It's a lot of fun. And Rose was my youth group leader when I was in school a few years ago. And we came up here before this was what it is today. So anybody that saw the transformation up here, it was really a cool thing to see. And I feel like every year they add on, and obviously you're going to touch base, I'm sure, on the fall harvest days. It's really a cool thing. So, Rose.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to come here for a minute just to share and say hi. We welcome you here to the Octagon Barn. And I'm a proud resident and have Thumb Electric as my electric source. And they've been great over the years. We've been in our home 47 years and it's been great. We heard a lot of things. I was a city-born girl from Carroll and heard a lot of things about rural electric that wasn't going to be good, but it's been great. How many of you have never been here before? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, well that's good. Last year there was a lot that had never been here before, so we're really excited to have those here, and thank you for coming back. Our Fall Family Days, as Jonathan mentioned, is a big event that helps fund and operate what we have our 26 acres here and 25 across the road. So there's 16 buildings on site. There's a lot going on, which we're very thankful that we've been going. We first came out here, it's going to be 30 years this year, in 1993, to start working on the project. We didn't form right away, but we've been out here seeking to help save this wonderful structure. And still to this day, with all the social media attention there is out there, we still have not found the barn that this pattern was taken from across the United States. Whether it's been burnt, blown down, torn down, we don't know. So this is very special, and there's not another one like it as far as we know. So share with your friends that information. And we had wonderful school tours this year. The kids are always great. We love to have them. Our next event, we have a tea party on June the 21st. Then we go into our July is our music weekend in the barn on the 15th and 16th. August 12th, we have the Michigan Barn Preservation Network Project, Teamwork in Timbers. The kids get to actually construct a timber frame barn. And the FFA group in Huron County is coming after that. So we're excited to have them. And then, of course, Fall Family Days is always the weekend after Labor Day, where everything is going here. You know, about 15,000 people come over the 3-day period, starting with the fish fry on Friday night. And we're here from 8 till 5 on Saturday and Sunday. And we desperately need rain, but we sure hope that we have good weather. Last year, Sunday in the afternoon, it started raining at 11. By 2 o'clock, we were shut down, first time ever. So the weather is important to all of us. So we hope for rain tonight, tomorrow. The farmers desperately need it. And we hope to see you later in the year. Come on back. We'll be open here. We opened at 11 o'clock. You're welcome. We have people at different buildings and sites to give you a quick tour if you so desire. So thank you for coming. I'm excited that everyone's here and all is well. And we thank Thumb Electric for choosing our site. And I'm so glad that we can share this great event with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rose. We now have Michigan Senator Dan Lowers.
the energy chair for the last 4 years, and now I'm the minority chair. The Democrats are in control now. You've probably seen the proposals, I'm sure it's all on top of what the plan is, and just want you to know that I'm there and pushing people to do the math, because I think if we do the math on what it takes to go to 100% renewable, the math would probably prove that, as noble as that goal may be, not sure that anyone can afford it. The amount of storage it would take, and the amount of land it would take to do that. It's just a really difficult task. So, but I want you to know it's great. Whenever I get in Thermal Electric's area, I can tell by looking at the lines. So I'm down in DTE land, and I'm not picking on my DTE buddies. I got a lot of friends that are linemen and work in the company, and but you can see the difference when there's ownership involved in what you're producing. So other than that, if there's any specific questions about what's going on in Lansing, I'm happy to answer them. I'll keep you guys watching. Anything? Okay. Good. Just to let you know, I'm a farm kid from just in the St. Clair County, a mile south of San Juan County. So raised on a dairy farm and still farming. My son, brothers all farm. And that's a great balance if you're serving in Lansing, because I'm in Lansing, Craig Lansing 3 days a week. And I come home on the farm and fix something, I feel much more productive for the day. I'm back. Okay, so I have the certified results of the election. It probably won't come as a surprise to anyone, but all 3 incumbents retained their positions. And the proposed bylaw amendment passed by a margin of 322 votes. 378 votes for, 56 votes against. So the amendment is approved. So at this point, that is all we have for you folks today as far as the official proceedings of the meeting goes. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. A motion, support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.